I'm going to get started. My name is Erin Kokinda. If I haven't met you before, I am the Community and Economic Development Director for the town of Wakefield. I've been in this position, I think, almost 4 years now. And right when I started, one of the first initiatives that I did, it was right in the heart of the pandemic, was this digital marketing training series and grant program. So this was back at the beginning of 2021. We had a lot of success. We did two trainings during that, and we thought we would do it again. And so it's been about 4 years since we last did it. So I thank you all for joining us tonight. I know I really appreciate it. I won't speak for Leah, but I'm sure she's excited to have you guys all here as well. um, so I won't explain the first kind of bullet, but just program overview. We decided to do this again just based on the success of last time in 2021, but also thank you to all that are on this call that took our small business survey that went out a couple months ago. One of the highest things that businesses said they needed help with was marketing and social media advertising. And so I thought this program fit in nicely with what businesses were looking for. So this is kind of a two-part program, if you will. We have the trainings, which you're at the first one tonight, and then if you attend 3 out of the 4 trainings, you are able to be eligible for the grant funds. This grant is available to Wakefield small, independently owned brick and mortar retailers, restaurants, and personal services. And eligible businesses can receive grants up to $3,000 to implement digital marketing services. The program has $50,000 available and it will run until depleted. So doing the math, that's around 16 businesses or so. And we're going to be opening up the applications are kind of open already, but we please ask that you hold off on filling the application until you've done 3 out of the 4 training series. I think it would just make it a little easier for us processing everything, just to make sure that you've attended the number of trainings that you need to. I also want to note that this wouldn't be possible without the Economic Development Council, which was a newly created council last year. They received about $1 million in ARPA funds from the town council, who thank you very much, to support our business community. And the Economic Development Council felt this program would be really important. And again, helped with what the survey was saying, with where small businesses needed help. So with that said, so tonight, you're November 6th, you're at the Digital Marketing 101 with Placid Marketing, Leah Hancock on the call. So thank you so much. This is Digital Marketing 101. Our next one is next Tuesday, November 12th. That's going to cover website and search engine optimization. That's going to be in the morning. So just note that the times are alternating. I just wanted to make it available to as many people as I could, and that's by the Boston Web Group. The next one after that is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. It's Transform Your Business with Marketing Automation and AI-driven tools. That's at nighttime again by Tomo 360. And the last one is going to be November 26th in the morning, Public Relations for Small Businesses. That's by Kevin York Communication. All of these are local folks, experts, and so we're really thrilled that we're able to work with them and support their small businesses as well. So tonight's agenda, introductions and housekeeping. I'm kind of doing that now. And then after this, I'm going to hand it over to Leah. So she'll run through her presentation. And then after that, we'll leave some time for Q&A. So it's just some housekeeping. Please stay muted if you're not already during the presentation to avoid distractions. Please turn your cameras on if you have them off right now. Turn them on during the Q&A. It's just always nice to see people's faces. To ask a question, please raise your hand and I will call on you to ask your question live to avoid multiple people asking at once. Just so everyone knows, this event is being recorded and you will be sent the recording and presentation after tonight. It'll also be posted on the website. And again, I said this at the beginning, but for the new people, please rename yourself, include your first and last name and your business name. I think it's just nice to put a name and business, on your face. And most importantly, I'm just thrilled to have you here and we look forward to helping you. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Leah Hancock. Me and Leah have gotten to know each other over the last I guess, couple years. And so I'm really thrilled that we're able to work together. She's going to be doing the presentation tonight on Digital Marketing 101. And I just have a quick bio I was going to read about her. Leah is the founder of Pleasant Marketing, where she empowers small businesses and nonprofits to create clear, actionable marketing strategies that drive growth. With 15 years of experience across multiple industries, her favorite part of marketing is helping clients see the forest through the trees, offering everything from full strategy, trying to do too much at once, development to hands-on execution. When she's not guiding businesses, Leah can be found road tripping with her husband and 3 kids, exploring U.S. national parks, or planning their next big adventure. So Leah, I'm going to hand it off to you. I've made you co-host, so I believe you can share your screen. And thank you everyone for the time and listening to me.
Thanks so much, Erin. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to be here tonight. Just make sure I have the right screen kind of ready to go here. Because doing too many things at the same time is just kind of my standard operations. Let me see. Somehow made display. Okay, here we go. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? All right, so then just gonna move myself out of the way. Present. So thank you again, Erin. I really appreciate you, inviting me to present on this call tonight, and I'm really excited to be here. Like I said, trying to make sure I'm showing you the right version here. All right. So can you see the path here with the?
You're good.
Perfect. Excellent. And just that screen, right?
We can see your slides, your next slides at the
Okay.
bottom, but there you go.
Oh, all right, hang on one second. All right, so this is what I want to show you. This is what I want to, nope. This is a new tool that I'm using, so I'm still trying to figure out the right things here. All right, I don't want. Okay. So are you seeing the tools, the next slides or no?
No, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. I am just teaching marketing is one of my favorite things to do, and so I'm really excited to dive in and talk about the whole wide wild world of digital marketing with fellow small business owners. So this is kind of a path of where we're going to be going tonight. We're going to cover talking about the sales funnel, which is really kind of the foundation of all of your digital marketing and marketing strategy overall. We'll talk about briefly your website and search engines because Anthony will be covering that in next week's call. We'll talk about social media a bit, some email marketing, digital advertising, mobile marketing, analytics, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with conclusion and Q&A. There's a lot to cover. I'm definitely not going to get into the nitty-gritty of all of these things just because there's so much to cover in the realm of digital marketing. And it does change so quickly. But these are really kind of the things that'll be your foundations for what you'll need for your small business and some of the things that you can kind of pull the levers on in a more immediate time frame. So thinking about why it matters. So like marketing, digital marketing is really just a different kind of way of thinking about it. It's a way to reach your customers online. It's a way to increase your visibility and discoverability, drive sales and revenue growth. They are often very cost-effective marketing solutions. It's easy to kind of turn them on and turn them off. One thing to keep in mind is that they may be cost-effective, but they may not necessarily be the most time-effective for you. So that's something to just keep in mind in the back of your head while you're kind of thinking through all these strategies. And then lastly, one of the beautiful things as a marketing nerd, it's kind of exciting to talk about analytics. And being able to measure your return on investment for digital marketing is a lot easier than it is in some other traditional means. If you think of things like newspaper ads or signage around town, those things you can't quite tell how many people are coming in based on that particular item. right? But if you're placing a digital ad or if you're spending time on social media, it's a little bit closer to figure out how much money you're spending on that particular thing and what that is actually bringing into your business. So before we kind of dive into the whole realm of digital marketing, it's really important that you define your target audience. You can do so many things online. You can digital market until you're blue in the face, but none of it's going to work unless you know that you're reaching the people that you want to reach. So in order to do that, you need to understand your customer demographics, things like their age, gender, income, education, etc., their interests and hobbies, some of their purchasing behavior, and pain points and challenges. Now, pain points and challenges comes up really a lot in B2B marketing, business to business. But even for business to consumer messaging, you can think about what types of pain points you're trying to solve for customers. I spoke with a recent business owner who has an allergen-friendly cake mix. And so the pain point that she's solving is having something that's easy, it's quick to put together, it doesn't require any exotic ingredients, you can keep it in your pantry, and then your child is able to participate in celebratory foods and desserts just like everyone else without having to worry about all of the different the top allergens, which is something that's prevalent in celebrations and kind of being in community, right? And so that's a pain point that she was able to address. But by clearly defining that target audience, you're able to create messaging and campaigns that resonate with that audience. And then you can kind of tailor your offering, your customer experience that will generate more business in all likelihood. So kind of moving along into the foundations of things, we'll spend a couple minutes here talking about the sales funnel. And so all of the elements that we'll talk about in the kind of tactical portion of digital marketing will align with different stages of the sales funnel, but thinking about how your customer makes a purchasing decision, how they follow along on their customer journey, they call it a lot, will help you figure out what types of messages to incorporate at which level and what tools are going to be the most effective at which portion in the marketing funnel. So the top level awareness, we have that kind of as the one color, and then there are 4 basic elements to it. So awareness is the kind of, we call it top of the funnel or even tofu. So the customer is kind of aware of the problem, but they're not aware of what the solution is. And you can consider this the attraction phase. So this is in awareness, you're driving traffic. This is where inbound marketing activities like search engine optimization, content marketing, social media, having a strong social media presence will help customers become aware of your business or your product. Excuse me. The goal here is to drive traffic, and it includes strategies like Google search results, organic and organic social media posts. We're moving down into the next 2. It's considered the middle of the funnel, or MOFU, and that's the interest and consideration phases. So the middle of the funnel kind of section is where we're educating customers on how to choose the best solutions and what those solutions are. And so you can consider this kind of the engagement phase of the funnel. So in interest, the goal is to engage with your audience. And so the customers have expressed interest in your offerings and have started engaging with your content by visiting your website, downloading your content, or following you on your social media channels. Like I said, the goal is engagement, and it can include strategies like blog posts and landing pages, and more direct kind of interactions with your potential customers. Moving down, as we kind of move down the funnel, we're getting closer and closer to actually making a purchase decision. So it's kind of thinking of people falling into the funnel and moving down, right? So the consideration phase is also called the desire phase. So customers are further evaluating your products or services, comparing them to your competitors, and also weighing their options. And so the goal at this phase is to generate more inquiries. And so this is where outbound marketing tactics like email campaigns and targeted ads can help influence their decision-making process. This also can include things like review sites and testimonials and before and after content, depending on what type of business or service that you have. The last kind of official funnel element, and we call that BOFU. These terms are just kind of fun things. And if you're Googling and trying to find more information about it, you can use them as you're searching for more information. And so this is where you're talking about why your products or services are the best solutions to your customers' problems. This is really the decision-making phase. So at the conversion level, this is the action phase. Customers are making a purchase or taking a desired action, like signing up for a newsletter or booking an appointment. This is where the combination of inbound and outbound strategies work together to guide your customers through the last phase of their customer journey. This is where you want to make it ridiculously easy to do business with you. Don't bury your checkout page or make it difficult to get in contact with you or otherwise close the deal. This is where you want to kind of reduce the friction of being able to close the deal. So making sure that people are able to find the information they need in order to make that purchase should be top of mind for you at this point. This can also include strategies like cart optimization, retargeting campaigns, and contact forms, depending on what type of business you have. And then lastly, we have the loyalty phase, which is retention. So it's kind of depending on which marketing funnel you're looking at. Some of them have them at the bottom of the tunnel. Some of them have loyalty kind of around the whole thing. But really, the name of the game here is building the relationship. When you want your customers to become loyal to your brand, returning for repeat business and potentially becoming advocates by sharing their positive experiences. So you want to maintain the strong relationships through ongoing engagement, like email newsletters and social media interactions. And that's important at this stage. And it's so much easier, I'm sure a lot of you know, to retain an existing customer. It's so much easier and less expensive to retain those customers and continue to delight them than it is to try and gain a new one. This is where email and SMS messaging for reaching out for customer testimonials and reviews, sending promotional codes or freebies and things like that. Those are all kind of tactics that fall into this last element of the funnel. And so when you're thinking of passing or following your customer through their purchasing decisions and on their customer journey, you can't really pick just one thing to do and have that be your thing, right? It's a combination of elements with your website or email or social or ads and things like that. We'll talk about all of those things, but really through it all, you want to be taking a multi-channel approach. And so that's when you're identifying your target channels, figuring out where your customers are and where they hang out online, where they're most likely to engage, and what the goal is with the content that you're trying to reach them with. And so you're developing tailored content for each portion of the funnel and for each platform that you're engaging on. So there are some social platforms, for example, that prioritize posts in certain orientations and things like that. And you'll want to make sure that you're being aware of that while you're publishing your content. And then as you're going through and you have all these channels in play, you want to make sure that you're being consistent across those channels. And that's where having a strong brand comes in. And when you're thinking of your brand, it's not just your logo or your colors, although those are certainly important. It's also the tone that you use when you show up online. It's your kind of brand voice and how you show consistency across all of your messaging lets people know that they are following the right company, that they know exactly what they're going to get. It builds on what we call the like, know, trust factor, where potential customers feel like they like you, they know who you are, and they trust that you're going to do a good job. And then lastly, after all is said and done, making sure that you're regularly checking in on your analytics to measure and optimize all of your campaigns is important. So that way you know what is actually working and what maybe isn't so working so well for you isn't so successful. And so that you're able to adapt and change and figure out what the best way forward is. So we're going to start off tonight. We're going to dive right in to your website. Like I mentioned, it's going to be pretty high level for this because Anthony will be talking about websites and SEO on Tuesday. And so really the way to think about your website is that it is the digital welcome mat for your business. It's kind of the first impression of what you're able to present for your potential customers. And so having a powerful website that delivers a great user experience is crucial to attracting and converting leads. So when you're thinking about your website, it's important to consider what are the goals of that website. Some common goals include lead generation, e-commerce, selling things online, education, and reputation building. So education is important for like nonprofit organizations where they're trying to inform people of what is going on with their particular cause or their organization. Reputation building is important for kind of single operators who are their brand. So things like speakers, coaches, trainers, things like that. That's kind of the more of a reputation building site. So by and large, for all of us on the call here, it's really for lead generation in e-commerce. If you're a brick and mortar location, you're kind of funneling people through your website to get them in person. So each page of your website should have a clear purpose or a next step. And that next step is what we call a call to action, CTA. That call to action is something to bear in mind kind of across all the platforms that you're on. What you want to do when you're crafting content is don't make people think. So if you're thinking about what sort of things to write, what the next thing is, put yourself in the shoes of your potential customers and think about positive experiences that you've had online where it's just been easy. And the funny thing is that even though it feels easy, it can be tricky to get to that point. And that's where marketing is kind of a little bit of a slippery thing to wrap your arms around, is that when it looks easy, there's been a lot of work that goes in behind it to make it feel that easy for the customer. One of the things I want to highlight when we're talking about a website here is whether or not you should have a blog. So, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in like the SEO section, but a blog can be a great way to deliver consistent content that helps rank on search engines. So talking about, slide over here. Talking about your location, the services you offer, some behind the scenes things or before and afters. It can really help to build your authority, and also include keywords that you'll be ranking on later in search. So something to think about too while you're building your website is that mobile matters. So I was diving in to try and figure out what exactly the breakdown is for mobile use. And globally, it is over 50% mobile. But if we're looking at the United States only, it is 43% of website traffic is mobile, but it is 63% of organic search traffic. So if you think about it, that's people going on their phones while they're out and about and searching for something while they're on their phones and just plugging something in without selecting one of the kind of sponsored pages that comes up first. And so it tends to shift back and forth a little bit, going from mobile to desktop and back and forth, and has been kind of altering, which is interesting to watch. But all that to say, it's important to make sure that when you design your website, when you update your website, to double check that mobile view to make sure that you're not getting any wonky layouts or things aren't overlapping or things are hiding. And certain platforms make that easy to double check which version that you're looking at, whether it's desktop or mobile. So some of those tools that you can use to build your website include Squarespace, WordPress, and Shopify. These are probably three of the most common that I see with small business owners. There's also Wix, which is another easy to use platform, kind of a what you see is what you get type editor. WordPress does take a little bit more finagling, a little bit more on the back end, but it's certainly something that can be approachable for people. And then the bottom three I have here are really great resources to help optimize your website and make it even better so that you can be found more easily, so that it's a better user experience and all those sorts of things. So those are HubSpot, SEMrush, and Ahrefs. I actually had to look up how to pronounce that last one, even though I use it all the time. I never say it out loud. But all of these are kind of overall really great resources for all things digital marketing. HubSpot and SEMrush in particular are two resources that I use all the time in helping to kind of re-up my knowledge and share that sort of information with my clients. So from here, we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit into the search engine side of things. So search engine optimization and search engine marketing are linked because they leverage search engines like Google, which I recently found out has 91% of the global search engine traffic to drive traffic and enhance visibility. So we're talking about search engine optimization versus search engine marketing. And it could be argued that search engine optimization is a subset of search engine marketing, but SEO focuses primarily on organic content, whereas SEM encompasses paid and organic content. But really, both of them are, the goal is to drive traffic and boost conversions. So I'm not going to read through the whole, both sides of these things. You can kind of dive in and take a peek now. But I do want to just call out one acronym that's in here, and that's EEAT. And so that stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And that's something that Google uses to evaluate the content on your website to make sure that it is actually legitimate. It's not a ranking factor necessarily, but it is used to assess the quality of your content and does play a role in the ranking for your website. This is from the graphic from the Digital Marketing Institute, which is another really great resource that you can have to learn more about all of these things we're going to talk about today.
Leah, I
So,
just wanted to give you a heads up. We lost the full image of the full screen
whoop,
of your slide. It has the notes. There you go. You're good
oh,
now.
all right. That's so odd. So, so you're seeing my notes and my slides?
We were, but you're good now. It was
Oh,
just for one slide.
okay. All right. I was trying to put it over so I could kind of go back and forth a little bit. But I might just have it on the kind of separate screen here. I want to make sure that you're not losing any of the content. But your secret weapon for all of these things is your Google business profile. So a company called Bright Local reported that more than 5% of views on a Google My Business page, it's now Google Business Profile, result in a conversion, which is huge. A 5% conversion is a really high rate when we're thinking about these things. So you want to make sure that you audit the information that's coming up on your Google business profile. It is populated automatically by Google. So you just want to make sure that that's all the information that's included there is accurate, that you've claimed your business listing and that you're able to edit it to make sure that it's entirely what you want to be showing. So you want to make sure that the description, location, services, and products are all up to date. For local search engine optimization, websites and Google business profiles are the most closely tied, are most closely connected and can boost your traditional results. Based on your location and reviews, and your website can enhance your Google business profile and leverage it to drive more sales, which your website can also trigger your profile to show up for more local queries and even display messages based on your website content. Sorry, I'm like and so that's kind of one of the best things that you can do for your local search engine optimization is making sure that your Google Business profile is up to date. So from here, we're going to dive into social media. So having an active social media builds the like, no trust factor that I mentioned earlier, especially when you focus on where they spend their time and create quality content that resonates. But with all of these social media platforms, I just want to throw out the caveat of beware the rabbit hole, whether it's falling down your own social media rabbit hole or figuring out and trying to dive in with all the different content that you can create. It can definitely be a time suck, and that's something we'll talk about. But it's something that if you're showing up authentically and relatably for your customers and your clients, it can be a really big boost for you as you're going through your digital marketing kind of journey here. So the main thing to think about is, where are your customers hanging out online? It's probably not all of these at once, right? So some of the things to think about as you're thinking about the demographics of your ideal customers, of who's coming into your business most frequently, is one of the things you can think about is their generations. So I found some kind of interesting generational fun facts about where each one is hanging out online. And while Gen Z is most closely associated with TikTok, Gen Z accounts for the highest percentage of content posted on LinkedIn, believe it or not. Millennials are older than you think. I want to just throw that out there as an elder millennial myself. They report Facebook and Instagram as their favorite platforms, which kind of resonates with my own social media experience. It's kind of a running joke online that Gen X is frequently forgotten between the boomers and millennials. But don't forget about them. They're definitely a huge, tend to be a very loyal purchasing population. And believe it or not, they're the fastest growing generation on TikTok. And while boomers were initially slow to adopt social media kind of overall, their most commonly used platforms are Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I also included Pinterest on here, even though I didn't have any kind of fun facts about who's on Pinterest most often, but often for very visually oriented industries like home interior design, beauty and hair, and clothing, things like that. Pinterest can be a really powerful platform for that, to be able to share content on that platform that's pinned and shared and kind of goes around and around. But regardless of where your customers are, make sure that you're tailoring the content to the platform that you're posting to, and adjusting messaging as needed as well. So that includes things like adjusting image sizes so that you're not cutting off critical information or the tops of people's heads if you're posting images. Video content generally performs well across the board. But if you're thinking about posting video content, you should know that the ratio on YouTube is different from the ratio on TikTok. You have the kind of vertical orientation for TikTok and also Reels on Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. And you have the more kind of traditional horizontal orientation for YouTube. So something to think about as you're creating your content. And it's not on here because it is kind of falling by the wayside from what I can see. But if you're posting on Twitter or X, there's still the content count that you need to make sure that you're aware of and they're staying within. It's 260 characters now. And then a big one that I want to put out for everybody is that links, clickable URLs do not work in Instagram feed posts. The caption that comes up, there's no copy and paste function at this point. And so if you want to share a live link, either share it to a story and be able to use a sticker or on the post that allows people to click through, or make it a friendly URL that it's easy to see and easy to type what the link is. And so my recommendation is generally for businesses to pick one or two that's most frequented by their customer base and that you're likely to stick with consistently. Um, if all of your uh, customers are hanging out in one place and it is a platform that you don't enjoy, that kind of evades your understanding, that just frustrates you, or that sucks you in and you never kind of come up for air, it's going to be really tough to maintain in the long run. And if you're not gaining much traction on social, but if you're still doing strong in your business, that's okay. That's something that I've had to deal with myself in my business, that I knew I wasn't getting a lot of traction on social. I knew I wasn't really getting any business necessarily from my social platforms. But I was still doing a lot and building my business offline. And so I had to kind of give myself a little pep talk and say, okay, Leah, it's all right if you're not posting on Instagram every single day, even though you love Instagram, you're on Instagram probably more than you should be. If you're not getting business from Instagram, don't feel like you have to bang your head against the wall and come up with something just to be able to post. So I just want to kind of put that out there for anybody who's kind of in that mode. One of the things that I want to highlight too is the power of local Facebook groups. So I went in and took a look at all the different local groups that we have that are Wakefield based. And just at the very top of the search in Facebook itself, I was able to find 6 straight out of the gate that had multiple thousands of members that were fairly active and would be tied really well to local outreach. So 4 of them are Wakefield community something. The Wakefield Moms group is one that I'm in, is a really active, really positive space. And then if you're a restaurant, the Melrose Stone and Wakefield Eats page is really active with a really engaged group that's in there talking about different restaurants and things in the area. I'm sure if you've been in some of the faiths in the local groups, there can be a little bit of chippy conversation here and there. And so that's just something to kind of bear in mind as you're promoting your own business in these groups or asking your customers to help promote you in these groups. Is that, you kind of have to have a little bit of a thick skin sometimes. But also people, if you're coming in with the right messaging, if you're sharing your products, your business and things like that, people are generally willing to give you a chance and to, have people chiming in saying, oh yeah, I went there, they were great, I had an awesome experience, 10 out of 10 recommend. And that's what you really want to see in a community group, is that positive, supportive interaction. So some of the potential pitfalls, as I kind of mentioned earlier, are the time suck. So all of these social media platforms are designed to keep you on them. Period. End of story. Their whole goal, it's similar to a slot machine at a casino, is flashing lights, things to distract you, keep you engaged, keep you going, keep you going, keep you going. So just be aware, maybe set a timer as you're going in to do some of your social media interactions on your business page and things like that, that when you're done, you're good. Another thing that can come up for people is perfectionism, and knowing that there are going to be some posts that you've worked really hard on, like a reel that you came up with an idea, you filmed it, you had to like set things up in your store just so, and you had this really fun, clever idea, and you're tying in trending audio, and it will flop. But the one you post of you just kind of talking out your phone of something nothing will be the one that actually resonates. These are I was going to say fun things, but they're things that make you tear your hair out as somebody who is posting on social media and trying to get through to customers and trying to figure out what exactly is going to be the thing that works. I will say that generally posts with people in them, showing who is in your store or customers or who's behind the counter, those tend to perform well. Posts that are more kind of interaction, relationship based, those tend to do well. So kind of keeping those things in the back of your mind as you're coming up with your content. And on that note, something that can come up for a lot of people is a creativity block. So what I like to do is kind of keep a running list of content ideas, things that I've seen that I like. I'll save posts that I'm like, oh, I can steal this and I can do this on my own twist on this trend. Or just taking photos and videos as you're going about your day. So you can do sort of a day in life type of thing. Or when you have a creative burst, you have all those ideas, you have all those assets ready to go that you can just kind of put them all together, see what happens, and schedule them ahead of time so that when you get into a point where you're feeling like you have no idea what's coming next, you have something that you can pull out of your pocket and say, oh, okay, I know I've got posts through the end of the week. I'm okay, I can breathe a little bit and then come back to this when I'm feeling fresh and excited and creative again. So from here, we're going to change gears a little bit and to go into email marketing. So email marketing is one of the best uses of your marketing resources. It has a return on investment average of $36 for every dollar spent in email, which is huge. Very few, if any, other platforms can have that type of return on what you're spending. Just let it come on. So some things to think about is where your emails are coming in each stage of the marketing journey. So how does it look? What would an email of people in the awareness phase look like that would be different from in the retention or the consideration phase? When you're building your list, one of the things to remember is that no matter if the algorithm changes, no matter if the website goes down, you own your email list, you own your contacts, you own that is a business asset that you have that can't be taken away, unless of course your email provider goes down. But for a lot of people who are building a following on social and relying on social media, when the algorithm changes or one of these platforms go down, they find themselves really stuck. There's also been situations where people have been locked out of their accounts or they've been hacked and things like that. But if you are intentionally cultivating your email list, that is a list of customer information or prospect information that you have that you can use at any point in the customer journey. And so part of that can be used to nurture leads. So you can send information about sales, you can send things, freebies, promo codes, reminders, things like that. And a lot of email service providers do have automation built in. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks about AI and marketing automation. So I won't kind of get into the nitty-gritty on that too. But you can have when someone signs up for your email list, they automatically get an email with a welcome. And that welcome email, I have a stat here that was really cool. More than 8 out of 10 people will open a welcome email, and it will generate 4 times as many opens and 10 times as many clicks as other email types. So when you're able to get someone and immediately have a welcome email, a few days later, you have a promo code. A week or two later, they're getting a, hey, we haven't seen you. We'd love to have you come back. Those types of things that are just going automatically in the background. You don't have to think about them. You don't have to worry about them. And they're just still there nurturing your leads as you're kind of going about your day. It's also really effective in retaining customers for similar reasons with the, you can send an email after someone's come in a few days later saying, hey, we were so excited to have you come in. Please let us know how we did. Please share a review, things like that. Some of the recommended tools that are out there are MailChimp is kind of the kind of standard for small businesses at this point. Constant Contact is still out there, not as commonly used. And then CRM platforms, so customer relationship management platforms, like HubSpot, Dubsado, there's a ton of them out there. A lot of those also have email capabilities to manage your list, create campaigns, and measure performance. One of the things to think about as you're building email campaigns is segmenting your list. So breaking your customer list into different pieces of people who have come in in the last month, people who have come in 3 to 6 months, people who haven't been in a year, and targeting your messaging to each of those. Where if people who have been in a month, you can say, have a promo that runs. If you're coming again, you'll get, come in 2 more times and you'll get a free coffee, that type of thing. If you're talking to people who haven't been in a year, it's a we miss you, we'd love to have you come in and grab a half off coffee, that kind of thing. Regular newsletters are a great way to stay top of mind for your leads and prospects. And like I was mentioning, those kind of drip campaigns with like the welcome email and then one after the other. It's a nurturing campaign or a drip campaign. They're a great way to save time sending manual emails, and you can target the path based on consumer behavior, and that's kind of built into a lot of these platforms that are out there today. I have a lot of fun other stats, but I want to just kind of keep cracking here. But also research shows that the best day to send marketing emails is Tuesday. And the best time is between 9:01 and 12 p.m. Eastern. So 9:01 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern, and then up until 3 p.m. Eastern. The worst time is between 1 and 3 a.m., which I think kind of makes sense. And then also personalization using dynamic content. So being able to put someone's name in the subject line or in the email. It is one of the best ways to improve email performance and open rates as well. So moving right along, we'll dive into digital marketing here. Digital advertising, it's all digital marketing. So organic and earned marketing. So organic are things that you're kind of posting online, things that's just kind of going out that you're not paying to boost. And earned marketing is media placements, that kind of implied third-party endorsement that I know will be coming up in the PR presentation in a couple weeks. They can get you so far, but a way to kind of level up your engagement is to pay to play. And a lot of people are saying, or kind of suspecting that their reach and their engagement on social platforms in particular is starting to take a dive because the platforms are trying to boost monetization for those types of things. So I'll run through our digital advertising overview. Search is directly connected with individuals to directly connect with individuals searching for keywords related to your business through search ads. And these are text-based ads that appear on the search engine results page. And they're positioned alongside organic search results, but they're clearly labeled as ads. So on Google, they're the ones at the very top of the results that say sponsored, so that when you scroll by, you actually get to the ones that are probably closer to what you want. Display ads so you would use display ads to show up on sites that are part of a search engine's advertising network. So that's Google Display Network. These are generally graphics forwards ads, so they're similar to what you would normally see in a newspaper or something like that with an image and some copy. And you see them on other sites you visit, not Google. So they may be images or videos, and they target users based on their interest and web browsing behavior. And that's where you get the notifications about cookies and things like that. That's where some of this comes into play. So shopping ads can also be called product listing ads, and they display your products directly in the search results. You've probably seen this if you're searching for headphones or something like that. They feature product images, prices, store names, and other decision-making details, and they're great for e-commerce business because they enable shoppers to quickly compare products on that search engine results page and easily make those purchase decisions. Local search, and we'll kind of come into this a little bit again when we talk about mobile advertising. Local search targets users who are searching for specific services or products near their physical location with local search ads. They act as a digital signpost and guide potential customers directly to your business at the moment they're ready to make a purchase from a business like yours nearby. So 3 ranking factors to consider are relevance, distance, and prominence. If you're searching for Italian food near me, it's likely that you might get a pizza place, but you might not get a French bakery, right? That doesn't make any sense when it's relevant. And then prominence has to do with building your backlinks and that authority kind of figure that we were talking about in our SEO section. Moving to social media, sponsored posts will often look like ordinary posts, but they're marked with a sponsored or promoted label to indicate that they're an ad. When we're talking about static images, you'll choose an image that stands out and write concise, persuasive copy, often with a call to action like shop now or learn more. You'll see those a lot with the kind of banner along the bottom. Carousels are a great way to show multiple images or videos in a single ad. And so it can work well if you want to highlight several specific products or if you want to tell a story through your ad. Video, lastly, for social media can be more effective in capturing attention than static images, just with what people are consuming most often these days. The videos start playing automatically as users scroll by, and it gives you a more dynamic way to tell your brand story. And then lastly, on the kind of overview side of things, we have the retargeting campaigns. And that's where we had talked about cookies a minute ago. You will reconnect with users who have previously visited your website with retargeting ads. So using the cookies is just like a little pixel that kind of tags you as you're moving along around the internet. So these ads will find past visitors wherever you may be across the web, and they'll remind you of products that you viewed or encouraging you to complete the purchase back on your site. So that's one of those things where if you've been to a site and then you're kind of off and you've moved on and you're browsing and you're searching and you hop on again, you see, oh, okay, well, I still have this thing is still kind of coming up for me. That's a retargeting campaign that they're running. So common pricing models are cost per click, cost per mille, and cost per acquisition. So for cost per click, you're paying each time someone clicks on the ad. Cost per mille, you're paying for every 1,000 impressions, so every time that somebody actually views your ad. And then cost per action, cost per acquisition is you pay when someone takes a specific action, like buying a product. And these are pretty much the most common platforms that you'll be using and tools that you'll be using for digital ad placement. Google Ads and Meta. In Google Ads, there's a whole subset of Gmail ads and YouTube ads and things like that, just across the Google suite of products. And Meta covers Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Threads. So both of these individual platforms have sub-platforms beneath them. And Google Analytics is a great way to tie in to see the results of all of your ads in one place. So the last kind of section that we have before we talk about analytics at a really high level is mobile marketing. And it's still kind of in the early stages, but we'll talk about a few things that can be really powerful for local marketing, especially. So some of the opportunities here include SMS, text messaging, in-store Wi-Fi for, when people are in your store, have them sign in with their email address so that you can add that to your email marketing list. QR codes is a great way to incorporate physical signage that brings them to an online location. And then thinking about whether or not having a mobile app is something to kind of ponder as you're going down the road of what works for mobile marketing. Where if people come in, they have your app, you can set a notification to ping when they're in your store or near your store to have them come in for a promo or something like that. I saw a stat that 75% of Americans check their phones within 5 minutes of receiving a notification. And so some of these things that ping the notifications can be really effective in keeping your message top of mind. Some other strategies include local mobile search. So when people perform a search for a business, Google can use their location to pull up nearby businesses. People can also add an area like a city or neighborhood to find businesses located in that specific area. Um, Geofencing is also something on the table. It's a virtual boundary around a specific location, which can be used to send targeted text messages and ads. The kind of flip side of the geofence, which is usually considered like your store, your general vicinity, is geoconquesting, which is instead of putting it around your own business, you put it around your competitors' businesses. It lets you reach customers already in the market for your products or services, and they're likely to be receptive to your messaging, which increases your chance of converting them into customers. So just kind of some other fun things to consider when you're thinking of mobile marketing. The last thing we have to kind of touch on tonight is analytics and the importance of analytics and checking in and making sure that things are running as they should, they're tracking as they should, and behaving as you would hope and adjusting your strategy based on that. So you'll use a number of tools, including Google Analytics, Meta Business Manager, other tools that can be HubSpot and SEMrush, like I mentioned earlier. They're resources and tools that you can use. When you're using these tools, you'll be tracking your digital marketing performance for each of these channels. So depending on the channel, some of the metrics you might be looking at are website traffic and bounce rate, conversion rates, email open and click-through rates, and social media and ad engagement. And so when you're looking at all these numbers, you can determine which ones are the most effective and which ones aren't the best use of your time and marketing budget. And you can adjust from there. So you can change the copy on some of your ads, you can change the placement on some of your ads, you can change when you're sending your emails, you can change what's coming up in the subject line, what the focus is for your social media posts. All these kinds of things are on the table to amend when you're talking about looking at the analytics and seeing what's working, what's not. Doing that, you can measure your return on investment. And then also identify trends and patterns, kind of tying into the data-driven decision. So if you're seeing things starting to taper off when you're not expecting them to, trying to figure out what might be driving that in order to make an adjustment so you can kind of bring that performance back up again. So kind of wrapping things up here, the basis is you're going to identify your ideal customer, you'll map their journey, figuring out what channels map to each point in that journey and what messaging and things like that will map to each section. There's so many tools and resources available, and actually I put together a list of all the things that I use to kind of help bolster some of the stats and things in the presentation tonight, so I'll make sure that gets out to everybody. And then you decide where to focus your efforts. As small business owners, you can't do everything, and in all likelihood, this is not your only job. And even if marketing is your only job, there's so much of it to do. When I was working for other companies, marketing was my only job, and I still felt overwhelmed 95% of the time, and that's what I did all day long. So just picking and choosing and starting with one or two, and then kind of seeing where you can branch out, seeing where you can get some help to incorporate some of these things. Things like Upwork and Fiverr are really great resources. There are plenty of businesses in town that can help you with your marketing efforts, and really just figuring out what the best course of action is for you to move forward. So with that, switch over to Q&A. And so I'll kind of stop sharing so that I can open it up for Erin.
Well, yeah, thank you, Leah. That was wonderful. I learned a lot. And I don't own a small business, but I think it's all the facts that you put out there are very interesting. So for the Q&A, I think it's just best if you do have any questions, if you wanted to just raise your hand. Don't be shy. I think we're all learning here. We do have one question from Katie. Katie, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Katie from Healthy Aging PT. Thank you so much for that. That was really helpful overview. I've gotten bits and pieces throughout the years, but that was a really nice way to see it kind of in a big picture. My question, and something I know that I've looked at before, and I think it's probably changed. Is there any connection algorithm wise right now between posting from Instagram to Facebook, like in terms of that order, or does it matter if it goes straight to Facebook, first to Instagram, and then any timing considerations in terms of best days, best times to post?
Sure. So I've not heard of any like negative consequence of posting to one versus the other if you're like if you have it set in Instagram so that it also posts in Facebook, or if you're using Meta Business Manager to post at the same time. Um, I haven't heard anything like that. I can make a note of it and see if I can find any resources on that. But as far as like the best time to post for any of the platforms is to think about when your customers are online. So to be able to schedule things ahead of time, generally, I think I saw it's Saturdays, which is a change from what it used to be historically. Um, but then also before and after work tend to be common. So in the like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. time, where people kind of waking up, cracking an eyelid, and also cracking their social feeds, which I absolutely don't ever do. Um, and also kind of on the flip side, like after dinner, before bed, those if you're thinking like habitually when people are consuming most of their social media, posting when those windows are is going to make it more likely that your content's going to be seen.
Does anyone else have any questions? Right. Don't be shy. That's totally fine if you don't have questions either. I know it was a lot to take in. Um,
Sorry.
oh, we do. Okay. No, don't be sorry. No, it's like you said with marketing, it's just so much. There's never enough time. We have
Um,
Kimmy.
So on analytics, I mean, there's looking at analytics and there's doing something with analytics.
Mhm.
What do we do with them? I mean, like that's what I find that's my problem. I can look at that and say, oh yeah, this post didn't get much engagement. I have no diagnosis for that. I
Sure.
like I would love to crack the nut of like, how do I increase engagement by looking at the numbers? My background's engineering. That'd be lovely. But it seems to be magic and pretending you know the algorithm.
I'm not going to lie to you and say that there isn't a fair amount of magic in pretending you know the algorithm. There is like I was kind of saying, there may be a post that you've worked really hard on that you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be the one. I know this is good, like perfect. It's aligned with what I know people are looking at. It feels like it's on trend, like people, it's going to come up. And then it flops. And then, you have one while you're sitting in your car waiting at pickup being like, hey, it's going to be a great day. See ya. And people are like, oh my God, I love it. Yes, more of this. Like that has nothing to do with anything. I don't understand. Um, Having said that, when you're looking at how content is performing on social media specifically, there are certain ways that you can look at sort of the content breakdown, and it can be a little bit of a manual process when you're looking and seeing like, okay, this kind of post, like this reel did well and it had this sort of theme and hit on this pain point. Or this post did really well because there were a lot of saves on this one. So this is information that people are trying to retain. And that kind of, you can reverse engineer some of that by when you're setting up your content, having it align with your kind of content pillars. So you have certain things that you're talking about education, you're talking about just kind of entertainment, day in the life. And so as you're going through, you have a way to kind of reconcile what that content was with what the kind of overall message is or overall theming of things is, and be able to kind of get a better sense that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it's just so what I'm mostly hearing is that you kind of have to look at the history of stuff that you've done and try to figure that out. Can I
Yeah.
ask a follow up on that?
Sure.
Because one of the big things that always gets a lot of likes and things is always the like me being in the video, but you know, in the reel or whatever, but it's like, um, like it's my company is about my product, right? And then I also would love to grow to the point where, you know, you don't ever see the Nike CEO on an Instagram reel.
Sure.
So not that I'm have visions of being the Nike of cheese, but I mean that it's exhausting to do the personal content of yourself and talking about your day in the life all the time.
It can be, and I think that's where you have to find the right balance, like kind of holding in your head, like, I know this is going to resonate. I really don't want to do it, but I know this is what's going to start to engage some people, and balance that with other types of content where you are talking more about the product, where you are talking about the pain points and things like that. And knowing that not every post is gonna knock it out of the park. Not every post is gonna be the one that's like, this is gonna drive all of my sales for the year, right? But trying to kind of mix up some of the messaging, mix up the formats, and just know that it's all kind of an average game. It's a game of averages. I think that's how I was supposed to say that. But, yeah. Ooh, Erin, you're on mute.
Sorry, that would help. Like, why don't answer me? Rada, you're up next.
Okay, great. Thanks. I have a really good question. Something that I noticed while I was boosting posts on social media, specifically for Facebook. And what I have noticed when I don't boost the engagement and almost is it true, or does it Facebook literally completely remove your engagement in order for you to advertise more with them? So when I stop for a long time. I figured, and then I would post. I'm like, I was playing around, just kind of testing what works, what doesn't. And then what would happen for whatever amount of money that I was trying to do per day or whatever, it would be such a minimal engagement, how many people they're going to show it. So I was playing a little bit with that. And then what I have noticed, it's when I don't boost and advertise, the engagement is almost minimal, almost like they take away that algorithm that I organically had already developed. Is that true? Is that in my head?
I don't think it's in your head. There is definitely an element of kind of pay to play with some of these platforms. And if driving the engagement is critical in building your business, you probably are going to have to place the ads and boost the posts and stuff like that. Having said that, there is still a engagement overall on a lot of these platforms has fallen. Whether or not it's because the algorithm is prioritizing the boosted posts, which is likely. They're also cracking down on a lot of AI generated content, which I'm not saying is what you're posting, but that's just kind of
Yeah.
is contributing
I'm not that advanced yet.
It's all kind of contributing overall to an adjustment in the algorithm. And anybody who says that they know what the algorithm wants is full of baloney. It changes constantly. That is the whole point of it, is it's learning on its own and adapting and prioritizing content based on certain things. Adam Mosseri is the CEO of Instagram, president of Instagram, and he'll get on and say, it's carousels now. And everyone who's been doing reels for the last 6 months is like, well, come on, seriously? And so every time you think you have a handle on it, it can change. And it's always kind of evolving. But kind of back to your original point, I do think there's been a big uptick in the pay to play kind of placement of things lately, where organic content isn't seeing the reach and engagement that it used to, but boosted posts and ad suites and things like that are starting to kind of be featured more prominently.
So one more follow-up question on that. So is it better to, not that we can outsmart the algorithm, but I'd like to think we can perhaps like give it a crack at it. So what would be the better? And I think I know the answer, but I just wanted to like really hear it from you. Facebook ads that are advertising there, almost like a separate from your page, or it's like they're just the ads out there versus boosting certain posts that are similar to ads or similar messaging, whatever, but you just kind of push it out, more audience, targeted audience who you want them to see it. So what is actually better to do, those ads or boosting? I think I know ads is, but I guess I want to like offset that. I can't really all the time advertise and every day spend all that money for somebody to buy a pair of jeans or whatever.
Sure.
But I'd like to also be organically showing content to customer that would like remind them that I'm there.
Yeah,
Out of sight,
absolutely.
out of mind kind of a thing in my
Yep.
case.
Yep. Yeah, the ads and the campaigns are going to be more effective than boosting individual posts. The ads do allow you to target based on people who already like your page and people who like pages similar to yours. They allow you to target within a certain radius geographically. You can target other demographics, and other, type of situations. Like I work with
Lookalike audiences.
lookalike audiences. Yep, exactly. And so that's where you can really get into some of the nitty-gritty with that, and come up with sort of a suite of ads that allow you to touch different points in the buying process. So like if you want to run a campaign that's, highlighting your selection of jeans and the story behind them and what, that kind of thing, you can have a short-term campaign highlighting jeans and then also have one kind of a general awareness running kind of in tandem. There may be some crossover between the two audiences, of course. But that's something you can put like a little bit of money toward a little money every day toward the just general awareness, and put a little bit more focus if there's something in particular that you really want to drive home.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Radha. I think we have Judy. Judy, I should ask Radha, you'd introduce yourself. I'm sorry. Judy, can you just say what your name and who you're with?
Yes. Hi, I'm Judy Romano. I'm obviously Wakefield resident, and one of my small businesses is called Driving Solutions. The other is called The Informed Caregiver.
Great.
Yeah, so it's all about people taking care of medically complicated older adults, basically.
Wonderful.
So
And your
the
question?
the question is about content creation. I know that CRM platforms have planners, and I know I think Instagram has a planner. But if I'm using different platforms, is there a planner that integrates all of them?
Yes. The tool that I use personally that I have really had a lot of success with is called Metricool.
How do you
It
spell
it's METRICOOL.
Oh,
They have a free version, which is huge. I use it for managing all of my clients' social platforms, but you're able to bring in, for one of my clients, I have Facebook, Instagram, Google Business, Google Ads, Meta Ads, LinkedIn, YouTube. It has TikTok available. I don't have TikTok for any of my clients right now. And you can also set up analytics. You can put a tracking pixel on your website too. So you get all of those analytics and get all of the planners for each one. And you can have it optimized for each platform of Twitter/X, that's in there too. And it also connects directly with Google Drive and Canva. So if you have images in your Google Drive, or if you have things that you're working on in Canva, you can drag them straight into Metricool, add your captions, and away you go. It is hugely powerful and just takes so many things off my mind when I'm trying to create content across multiple social platforms.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Judy.
Anything to make it easier, I'm here for it.
We have Patricia. Patricia, if you just wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Sure. My name's Patricia Henney. I'm a sole proprietor of Healing Hands Release, and we're at the Holistic Life Community over by the lake at the Lakeside office in Door 18. So I'm glad, Judy, that you asked that question. I'm, as a sole proprietor, I think there's many of us here, and I have maybe a more basic question, but what do you recommend for frequency? There's so much that we have to do every day. So, between blogs and posts, and I'm working on setting that up right now. But what do you recommend for frequency, like to draw in those numbers?
As many platforms as there are, you can get 100 different messages and answers to this question for each one, honestly. The real answer is whatever you feel like you can maintain consistently.
Okay.
So if that's 1 blog post a month, if that's 2 blog posts a month, my kind of secret hack is to take the dates off blog posts, so that the content is still there, but also people don't know if you haven't updated your blog in 6 months. You might be getting a little ding from Google on that one, but not, that it's not the freshest or what have you. But and then for the social platforms, or if we're talking about email too, if it's 1 email a week or bi-weekly or monthly or even quarterly, it's for retention purposes. It's just kind of to keep top of mind and be like, hey, I'm still here, don't forget about me, kind of thing. I know personally, I started with a weekly email newsletter, and I haven't sent it in, I think, 2 months at this point. So, do as I say, not as I do. But as a sole proprietor, I completely understand. From a social platform side of things, especially in a consumer facing type business, I probably recommend a few times a week, ideally 3+ times a week, if you're able to manage that. And that's where having sort of a list of content or a number of images or videos and ideas can be really helpful, so that when you're in a position, you're like, oh, I am full of ideas today. I'm just going to schedule them all out. I know this is coming up, so I want to make sure I have a post ready for this thing. I'm going to put that on the scheduler, and trying to take that off your kind of daily things to remember list. One of the things that I try and do for all of my clients is batch create as much content as we can. So then that way nobody's scrambling last minute and being like, oh my God, we haven't posted in 2 weeks. Like, all right, we've had some things going consistently, even if it's not every day, even if it's not, all the time, just trying to stay somewhat consistent with it as best as you can.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. It's a great presentation too. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Trisha. We have Maria up next. Maria, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, so I am on 2 screens because my computer might die in the middle of this. Is there Shine Med Spa microblading? Is there any chance, as I was listening to you, taking my notes, that we can categorize the social media platforms in some kind of columns or systems, knowing which one is horizontal, which one is vertical, which one is like, it will make it so much easier. I'm very visual. And I'm trying to make sense, like, okay, what platform is the best for videos? I know a little bit about Facebook, Instagram, those I use. But I feel like if there is cross-pollination between the ones that have the same layout, I know Facebook and Instagram does that. I know Facebook doesn't like sharing from Instagram. So that was one of the questions. They don't like it, but maybe it's a way to do it and schedule it certain way, so it make our weekly life easier. And then also, you know, like what is the best way of hashtagging or stuff like that. I know like we are just at the first one, but I think like if we have like some kind of tab where it's more organized, like it will be all of us be able to, at least for me, it will be easier to navigate through this world of social media.
Sure, yeah.
Is
So
it possible?
to create sort of a document, I can certainly do that. And I'll send it to Erin and I can share it with you all too. I have the registrations email, so I can put that
For us over
together.
50.
No, and that is one of the best ways to think about how you can repurpose all of your content
Mhm,
is,
mhm,
you know, kind of thinking about like, oh, trying to come up with all these ideas all the time.
mhm,
Repurpose as much as you can,
mhm,
repost things
mhm,
as often as you want to. One of the things that gets a lot of people hung up is that it's like, oh, well, no, I already posted about that this week. Yeah, but only
mhm,
like this many of your followers saw it. So
mhm,
just post it again. If they think you're posting things twice in 1 week, oh well, you know, it's
mhm,
your own biggest critic and your own biggest um kind of noticing of all the little things.
mhm,
But generally what I do when I'm creating content is I try to shoot almost everything vertically for video,
mhm,
knowing that not much of my stuff is going to wind up on YouTube.
mhm,
And even if it does, YouTube Shorts are also in that vertical orientation, so I can use it
mhm,
there if I need it to.
mhm,
I also create a lot of my static images and my carousels in a more vertical orientation as well, knowing that when
mhm,
you're scrolling through Instagram, the way that the feed is set up, um, your vertical post is going to take up more screen real estate than a square post,
I
right?
see. Mhm,
And that vertical post still also works on Facebook,
mhm,
in a static post. Carousels get a
mhm,
little squirrely,
mhm.
but there's a few things that I use and that I can put together and share as a resource for sure.
Thank you so much.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Yeah.
So I think that's all our questions, all wonderful questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so engaged. I really appreciate it. I just want to thank Leah again. The presentation was wonderful. Clearly, people took a lot away from it, so I thank you. I just wanted to share my screen one more time, just to remind everyone of the next workshop. So again, the next one is next Tuesday from 8:30 to 10 a.m. That's website and search engine optimization. So tonight's training was really an umbrella of all these other things that we're going to be talking about. So thank you so much, Leah. The following week is on November 19th. It's Transform Your Business with Marketing Automation and AI-driven tools. That's at night again from 6 to 7:30. And then our last one is November 26th, again, a Tuesday. They're all on Tuesdays now moving forward. This is in the morning from 8:30 to 10 and with Kevin York Communications. And so as a reminder, I do ask that you attend. You have to attend 3 out of the 4, or you have to watch the recordings and certify that you watched the recordings to be eligible for the grant funds. I will send an email out to all the participants tonight with the presentation as well as the recording once it's posted. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions. All my contact information will be there. And again, I just want to, and Leah, there you go. Here's Leah's information where you can find more about her, with all her different socials, the web, email. And so thank you. I just want to thank you all. And I think that kind of wraps up our program for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin.
Bye.
Thank you.